星期五，周末你们都干什么？没事的时候，我在宿舍上网。我在一个学校学习画画。你学习中国话吗？对，我喜欢中国话。你们周末干什么？我一般在家看书、听音乐，有时候也去超市买东西。我和我同屋一块儿收拾房间，一块儿吃饭聊天儿。Right, that's it. And there's nothing new besides that. I mean, there's nothing new besides for the third one, besides the first and the second. And we covered all the grammatical function from the first and second text. This is just introducing the different language usage and new vocabularies. Let's look at them closely, one by one. 下课以后 after the class, right? 以后什么什么以后 not 以后什么什么 please, right? It is always put behind the time point you want to define. It is not 以后下课 it is always 下课以后今天以后吃饭以后学习以后 not 以后什么什么 not the other way around. 阿明 one person, Martin the second, Lina, so we have three person together. 一起 same thing as 一块儿 means together. 聊天 chat the sky, right? Talk about the nonsense, nothing important. What are they talking about? They're talking about what is your weekend plan? What do you do in the weekend, right? 阿明 ask first. 今天星期五。Miss Fisher, you have a very loud generator outside of the room. I might not be here well if I. Okay. Sure. 今天星期五，星期五 is
Friday.
Okay, thank you. 周末你们都干什么？周末 means the end of the week. 你们都干什么？ You see here, this 干 is interchangeable with 做 with the question pronoun 什么 do what. 你们都做什么 Why do? Because he's asking Martin and Lina, this two person. Right? 周末你们都干什么 Martin says, 没事儿的时候 we learned 的时候 means
When or while.
when or while, right? 没事儿 means
Not have something.
When you don't
Right.
have something going on.
That's correct, right? 的时候 means when 没事儿 no things time. So when you don't have the things need you to attend to, so this is a very common expression, right? When I don't have things to do, 没事儿的时候 what do I do? 我在宿舍上网，宿舍 dormitory, right? 宿舍上网。琳娜，我在一个学校学习画画。Right? This is 在 plus location, both of them plus doing things. Right? This is the call function that the lesson 11 wants us to remember. You are doing something at some place. 我在一个学校 one school. Doing what? Learn 学习 verb noun. Drawing a picture 画画 我在一个学校学习画画。你学习中国画吗？ Well, then Amin asks, okay, you're learning how to paint. Then are you learning how to paint the Chinese one? Are you learning the Chinese painting? Ma, this is a simple question and with ma and question mark. And seeking the yes, no answer. So Lina answered, yes, that's correct. 对，我喜欢中国画. We discussed the 喜欢 yesterday. Means?
Like.
I like Chinese painting. Then Lina asked back, 你们周末干什么? Why in plural? Because Aming and Cui Hao, right? Mr. Milne said, you also cannot talk. 今天我也不能说. Okay, that's good. Well, it's very interesting to see next semester if we were able to go back to the campus after the vaccination. Right? 我一般在家看书. 一般 means
Generally.
At home, read a book, listen to the music. 有时候 means sometimes, right? When there's a time. 时候 means time. 也去超市买东西. I also go to the supermarket. Supermarket literally means 买东西, buying things and stuff, not buy the East and the West, right? You can't buy the global, right? 我和我同屋一块收拾房间. This is 崔浩的 answer. I and my what? Roommate. 一块 same thing to 一起. All together. 收拾房间. 收拾 means
tidy up.
Put in order.
Tidy up, put in order, cleaning up. Right? 一块 you also do together. 吃饭 eat and talk about anything you want to talk about. Right. Okay, there's nothing difficult here. It's basically the refreshment of the memory for the vocabulary and grammatical point from the text 1 and text 2. Okay. Now let's look at the question. Question number 1. 马丁周末干什么? What does this mean?
What does Martin do on the weekend?
What does Martin do in the weekend, right? And look at the right side of my screen. 琳娜周末干什么?
What does Lina do on the weekend?
Right. And what does Lina do?
她在一个学校学习画画.
Thank you. And what does Martin do?
她在宿舍上网.
Thank you. 阿明在周末干什么? Oh, sorry. 阿明周末干什么?
他一般在家看书、听音乐，有时候也去超市买东西。
Perfect. 崔浩周末干什么?
他和他同屋一块儿收拾房间，一块儿吃饭聊天。
Very good. Well, now imagine a situation when there's no pinyin supplies of our text. just quickly do those. Are we able to read the Chinese? Right, let's take 1 minute. Try to read it by yourself. Yes, I'm so bad at reading without pinyin. Yes, that's my point. Okay, because at the end of the day, pinyin is not Chinese language, right? Normally, when you see let me show you, for example, anyone, normally when you read something in Chinese, it is something in those way, right? Right, that's my point. You should try to train yourself by not looking at the pinyin, but a natural reflection where you look at the Chinese character and you know how to pronounce and how it means. You would probably remember a kind of situation when I look at the Chinese character, I know how it sounds. But when you ask me how do we write the pinyin out, I will spell that in my mind first, then I can write to you. So this is what you should try to achieve. A character should be more direct on a higher priority level in your mind than an alphabetical pinyin, which is not language at all. Right. And now tell me how many of you were able to read those. Let's say 80–90%, right? Without those pinyin in the past 1 minute. Miss Kelly, very good. Miss Paris, very good. Miss Fisher, very good. Then I think you are doing the right thing, okay? This is very good practice. You can try to do that, all by yourself when you are at home. Hide all the pinyin and look at the Chinese character itself and see how it works. Mr. Strabo, 老师, please, may you quickly explain the differences between 平时 and 一般? There's nothing different. It's just which one you like. 一般 in general, 平时 ordinary time, right? Not in a particular time. If in the context, if the contexts are the same, they mean the same. Literally, 平时 means the flat time, right? Everyday life, nothing special, not your wedding day, right? Not someone's funeral. That means 平时, ordinary time, literary translation. 一般 in general, okay? So on the word level,
synonyms.
Yeah. On the word level, you finished?
In the second last sentence where it says 我一般在家看书, could I say?
我平时在家看书 same thing. 我常常在家看书 same thing. Same.
Thank you.
Right. No problem. Ms. Halgreen, that's maybe so much difficult. Should actually make copies of writings without the pinyin because yes, you should do so. You can read most of the characters, but not all of them. That means you still need to work a little bit harder on your vocabularies. How do you do that? by hide the entire pinyin out and look at the Chinese character. Do you know how their pinyins are? My pronunciation might not be accurate, but I can figure out what the sentence means. Well, that's a good start. That's a good start. Okay, now, before we move to our pure practice, let's look at some the language function that we should achieve by learning from the lesson 11, which are, how do we answer the cell number? For example, if I ask you, 你的电话号码是多少? What should you answer me?
我的号码是17852311557。
Perfect. And now, get your pen, right? Take your pen, and if you want to type, you type, get a paper. Now you ask me about my cell number. Anyone?
你的电话号码是多少？
我的电话号码是 take your pen 15811331737. Right? What is that?
Can you say it again, please? That was a little
Okay.
fast.
Okay. 我的电话号码是15811331737.
15811331737.
Correct. Perfect. That's good. Very good. So now you know how to answer Chinese people's 12 number. And this is how long a Chinese cell number is. Right? 11 digits. Miss Watkin, your internet keep dropping on EduRealm. Go to your settings and forget this Wi-Fi. Then you can stick on whatever that's more stable to you. You can rejoin that when you want to do in the later stage. For Chinese one, okay. The Chinese is +86. +86. That is the Chinese code, country code. +86. Right, and both 8 and 6 has a certain meaning in Chinese culture. 8 means to get wealth, to get wealthy, to get rich. 6 meaning you are blessed. 6 means you are blessed and you will do everything smoothly. No obstacles would be in your way. This is the same thing, and number 4, right, also means getting rich. And same thing, we don't like number 7. Number 7 means bad temper. We also don't like number 13. Right? I think this is Western influences. Or we also don't like the number 18. That is the 18 levels of hell in the urban legend. So in some of buildings in the southern part of China, they may not even have the 4th floor. After the 2nd floor, they probably have the 2nd and a half, 3rd and a half, but there may be the 3rd floor and the 5th floor. There's no 4th floor at all. And in some hotels, there's no room number 13 or number 7. Yes, you have entire year for your 2nd year, the Chinese culture and history and the philosophy, the brief introduction on the entire year course. Right. Good luck for you, Mr. Melny. And we continue. 今天中午你在哪儿吃饭? Anyone answer me? 今天中午 你在哪儿吃饭？
今天中午我在家吃饭。
That means
This afternoon eat alone.
thank you. 今天下午你在家吗？What that mean?
在
Okay. 你在家干什么？
我在家做菜。
你在家做菜 Very good. You like cooking. Perfect. 晚上你一般干什么？
晚上我一般干做饭，跟大姐聊天儿。
Can you repeat? 晚上你一般
晚上我一般干做饭，跟大姐聊天儿。
Right. 干 and 做 are the same thing. When you want to say I'm right, when you want to say I'm cooking, right? When you want to say you're cooking, we prefer to stick with 做饭, right? Because 干饭 means eat food.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Right. 周末你想干什么？
周末我想去爬山和听音乐。
Very good. Don't overuse that her. That overuse not in the sense of the English, but in Chinese, if you feel very necessary, we don't use that her. But you see here, the very last sentence of the text number 1. 我们一起吃饭聊天 There are two things, right? 吃饭 and 聊天 but there's neither 和 nor the punctuation.
So I can say my sentence exactly like I did without the he, and it will be
Yes.
all fine. Okay, cool.
Yes. Yes. Okay. 干饭和吃饭 eating them. Not 跟饭 means 好多人干饭 or you just confused now. No, we discussed this with some kind of internet language developed by TikTok generation of Chinese young people. So basically 干饭, they want to use the more aggressive and powerful verb to do something instead of to eat, to indicating, their consumption of that food. Right. Now, let's look at some exercise. Before that, there's 4 supplementary vocabularies, and they are basically not new vocabularies. They are just the name of the places, right? Beijing, we all know where Beijing is. Anyone doesn't know where the Beijing is? That's the capital city of China, and there's only one capital city of China, which is Beijing. Shanghai is in the middle south part of China. It is a port, right? So let's look at the map. Okay, here's China, right? How far from China to South Africa? Well, if you take the direct flight from Johannesburg to Shenzhen or Beijing, that will take you 13 to 14 to 15 hours, depend on the route. That's a direct flight. If you in transfer, there's a various different choice, but people tend to go to Dubai first because it's somewhere in the middle, right? And you go to Dubai, and from Dubai to China, that will take you 20 hours-ish. Beijing is somewhere here in the kind of middle here, right? You see Beijing, and Shanghai is very far from it. By flight, it's 4 hours flight. It's like Cape Town to Durban, or maybe a little bit further. By train, it's 6 hours by train. But think about the Chinese faster train, not normal train, right? And Nanjing is somewhere close to Shanghai. It's also a port city somewhere here. All right, Nanjing here. Okay, here. Okay. So these are the places. And we know what 电话 is. 电话 means telephone. Practice number 1. Let's see who makes the longest sentence. For example, this is basically inserting the different adverbial of the time and the places into a sentence, right? For example, 我看书. 我在图书馆看书. I read. I'm in the library read. This afternoon, I'm in the library to read. 我下午在图书馆看书. 我今天下午 Today's afternoon, I in library read. 我今天下午 with friend together. I this afternoon, today's afternoon with friends together in the library to read the Chinese book. Do we get what we need to do with this? Use these vocabulary provided. Okay. And try to make the longest sentence. All right. Ms. Kiss, do they speak other version of the Chinese in Beijing or similar to what we learned? The entire China speaks the modern simplified Chinese. And this is the only official language, right? We know we have different dialects like Cantonese and Hakka Chinese, but these are not official language. There's only one official language, which is the modern simplified Chinese. That means all the government institutions, public schools, and all the students, they have to learn this, even though they speak their own dialect at home with their family, but everybody are able to use the modern simplified Chinese. Means you probably don't understand them, but they definitely understand you. Right, let's make, I'll start. 他去超市. Can we make it longer?
他今天下午去超市.
Okay. Okay. 他今天下午去超市. Can anyone expand that sentence?
他今天下午去超市买东西.
Right. Anyone else? 他今天下午去超市买东西.
他今天下午以后，他去超市买东西，然后去家跟朋友去家听音乐。
Okay, very good. Only one thing. We don't say go home. We say return home. 回家. Right? 回家. Unless you want to say go to someone's home. 去他朋友家. Right? If you are going to your own home, that is returning home. If you go to someone's home, that is go to someone's home. Right? So by that I mean the pure form of 去家 is not sound correct. Doesn't sound correct. Right? I think there's no any challenge to you. As long as you understand where do we put the time adverbial and the adverbial of the places. Read the second tone and second tone, write the pinyin, and to complete the vocabulary, I assume you all can do that by yourself. Now, let's just get a pen, and we try to finish the exercise number 4. Choose the proper words to fill in the blanks. 8, let's use 3 minutes. Go ahead. Ms. Halgren has a question. Could you please explain how comma versus full stop works? Because the passage in the assignment 11.2, question 2, almost only use comma. When I wrote my passage, I used more full stop because it felt strange to just add comma at the whole time. But I'd like to know that's what. Okay. This is easy and difficult to explain. By that, I think you are referring to this one. Right. When do we use the comma and the full stop? It's defined on the grammatical book. When you think that you haven't finished a meaning, you use comma. When you think a meaning is finished, then you use the full stop. By the very definition itself, in Chinese, it is not like English. In English, if you start a new sentence, what is the indicator you are starting a new sentence? You repeat the subject, right? Or you use another subject. For example, 我是法国留学生，我从星期一到星期五. This regarded in English or most of the Western languages because you repeat the subject and you change the predicate, you change the verb, you change the object, they are regarded as two sentences. So from that point of view, English people tend to use a full stop in between. However, according to the Chinese grammatical book, a comma is used to separate the two meaning blocks. That means when you think the meaning is not completely finished, you can always use the comma. And what's happening here is, 我是法国留学生，我从星期一到星期五都很忙。休息的时候，我喜欢在宿舍上网，也喜欢跟朋友聊天。In the mind of whoever wrote the sentence, or in the most mind of Chinese people, this is one meaning, describing what I'm doing, right? But it is nothing wrong if you decided to separate them. However, it requires certain modification. 我是法国留学生 full stop. 我从星期一到星期五都很忙 full stop. 休息的时候 normally we probably need to add a 我休息的时候 full stop. 我喜欢在宿舍上网 full stop. And you probably need to add another 我 here. 喜欢跟朋友聊天. So, in another sense, if you want to look at this, is by using comma, we are avoiding to repeat so many times of the same subject. Am I clear? Okay, great. Now let's look at them one by one. Let's look at the vocabulary first. 平时 means
everyday time.
right. Ordinary time. 平 means flat. Something lay flat. You know, no jump, no increase, no decrease, no turbulence. It's just a flat. 平时 ordinary time. 每天 means
every day.
every day. 每
Not.
Negative, same as 不 but not interchangeable with 不 一块儿
Together.
多少
How much?
how much or how many? It is a question pronoun, and there's only one question within these 8 sentences, so that's very aware. Answer. 有时候
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
在 we don't need to discuss that. 一般
Usually.
generally 跟
With.
Number 1, 我朋友什么都很忙。We have a Miss Poputu. Miss KM Poputu. Are you able to answer those? All right, Mr. Christian. This is a very interesting part. Guys, you do know I can see when people dropping. So when I do this Q&A part, I will see just like people dropping out from the meeting. Right, now, okay, who can answer the first one? 我朋友什么都很忙。
我可以。我朋友每天都很忙。
Right, so there are few answers can fit those. You can also say 我朋友
平时
right, and 我朋友
一般
一般 right. Why we can't use 有时候?
Because 有时候 means sometimes and 都 means all of those times. So they kind of cancel each other out.
Perfect color. That's the answer. Yes. Second, 李老师什么家吗？
李老师没家吗？
Think it again.
李老师在家吗？
Right. That means
Oh, right, yeah.
is 李老师 at home? You can use that 没家, but you need to indicate the 有。李老师没有家吗？ That means
Is teacher Lee not at home, right?
doesn't have a home. 有 means they are to have. Right? If you want to say 李老师没有家吗? I'm asking question. Doesn't 老师李 have a home?
All right,
Not
yeah, no, I
at
see.
home. Okay, great. Number 3, 他的手机号码是 This is giving marks for free. The question, there's only one question pronoun here. And this is the only question. Oh, sorry, I'm lying. There's another question. Okay. But we learned this. 你的号码是
多少？
多少 right? Number 4, 我什么时间去买东西 Miss Phyllis, do you want to try? Miss Gomez? Right, Miss Kelly?
I'm not sure. Like I forget.
Try.
时间
Say that again.
时间
什么时间? What did you feel here? Which words?
I forgot what word 时间 was. Like I forgot the
which
English translation. 时间
没时间.
No, it's not. Okay, I would say 我平时时间去买东西.
Okay. Any different answers?
May.
Thank you. I don't have time to buy things. Because 平时 is indicating the time already. We don't need to repeat the 时间 again. So this literally wants us to say, I don't have time to buy things, right? And when you're doing a test and you're encountering something like this, you can leave this as empty. You continue, right? By that I mean, right? You continue, and when you come back, you see which one is left. And when that makes sense, you fill it in. All right. 我什么晚上学习汉语?
Maybe.
Okay. And?
平时 and
Okay.
每天.
Perfect. And?
有时候
有时候, yes, we can use 有时候 on this as well because there's no do indicating always. 你几点睡觉?
每天
Right. 你每天几点睡觉? 你一般几点睡觉? 你平时几点睡觉? We probably will say 你有时候几点睡觉 because we're trying to find out the general information. When do you go to sleep? 我喜欢什么朋友聊天?
我喜欢跟朋友聊天。
跟朋友聊天 Perfect. 我们常常学习汉语.
Equire.
That means?
We often study Chinese together.
Together, thank you. Same thing as 一起, right? Next exercise, number 5. Make sentence with the given words 从到, 从到, from to, right? Can be from a time point to another time point. Can be from a place to another place. 从到. 8点, 11点半, 有课. 我 from 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock, 11:30, I have class. Right? Number 1, 星期一, 星期五. So we know this is about the time period. Always busy. How can we form a sentence with 从 and 到?
"我从星期一到星期五都很忙。"
Very good. 8, 10, study Chinese.
我从8点 到10点学习汉语。
Very good. 2, 4, class. That's the same thing.
我从2点到4点有课。
Right. 12, in the afternoon 2, rest.
我从12点到下午2点学习。
我从12点到下午2点休息。Very good. Thank you. Next one, completing the sentence with 的时候。Right, so you need to give the situation. 我喜欢爬山。So 什么什么的时候我喜欢爬山。Anyone? In the weekend, when in the weekend, I like to climb the mountain.
周末的时候，我喜欢爬山。
Good. 周末的时候，我喜欢爬山。我常常看电影。When I have rest, I often go to watch the film.
休息的时候，我常常看电影。
Right. 休息的时候，我常常看电影。Number 3, when in the afternoon, they often drink tea.
下午的时候，他们常常喝茶。
Very good. 下午的时候，他们常常喝茶。When at home, I also listen to the music.
家的时候我也听音乐。
Right. 在家的时候，我也听音乐。在。
哦，好的，谢谢。
客气。我在家做饭。Last one, I cook at home. When there's electricity, I cook at home. You can do this, trust yourself. We learned everything. When there's electricity.
有电子的时候，我在家做饭。
Very good. 有电的时候，电子 is the electron itself. 有电 is the electricity in general. 有电的时候，我在家做饭。Okay. Right, that's it. The rest are your assignments. Thank you for joining me today. That's for today, and you will see either tomorrow. I'll see you on Monday. Have a good weekend. 谢谢，再见。
谢谢。
非常感谢老师。
拜拜 Miss Lindy， 拜拜 Carla， 拜拜 Miss Paris， 再见 Mr. Martin， 拜拜 Miss Halgrim， 拜拜 Miss Miller， Miss Milne， Gomez， Lombard， 再见。